Dobrodošli na mojem podcastu Preboj za podjetnike in vodje. Moje ime je Aleksander Šinigoj in moja strast je, da intervjuvam oziroma modeliram uspešne ljudi in to znanje o njihovem uspehu prenašam na podjetnike in vodje. Oziroma vse tiste, ki bi radi nekoč postali vodje oziroma podjetniki. Prvi del intervjuja je povsem brezplačen. Drugi poglobljeni del je pa na voljo zgolj našim članom mastermind kluba 10 Trust. Gre za podjetnike in vodje, ki bi radi hitreje povečali prodajo, dobiček in rast svojih podjetij. Če bi radi tudi vi povečali dobiček in rast vašega podjetja, vas vabim, da se nam pridružite in postanete člani mastermind kluba 10 Trust. Pišite nam za več informacij na info@mastermindakademija.com. Vabljeni, poslušajte, uživajte in hvaležen bom, da nam zaupate, kaj se vas je dotaknilo, kaj boste tudi sami uporabili v vašem življenju oziroma pri vašem poslovanju. So, hello everyone. I'm so excited and grateful that today is with me Chris Cummins, who is an incredible soul entrepreneur. And Chris, could you introduce a little bit yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Chris Cummins. I run a company called OTD, which stands for Our Training Department. We're based in Birmingham in the UK, although I live in Kent, which is southeast of London. We have around a dozen people working in the office, although it's virtual at the moment. And we have around just over 100 business coaches throughout the world training on our behalf in a freelance capacity.
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about what is your business about. What do you do? What your coaches support other people?
So we run a number of corporate trainings. Most of the organizations that we work for are big corporate organizations. I won't name them, but they're normally on Wall Street or the FTSE 100. So and they're big companies, and most of the types of training we do are things like presenting, coaching, selling, leadership, influence, those sorts of programs, and laced within all of our workshops, all of the workshops that we run, there is a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming in there as well, because we want to help to really make change. Our motto or our vision or mission is creating lasting change across the world through innovation and inspiration. So that's what we do.
Wow. Inspiring already. So how did it all start?
Okay, so maybe I had a very big plan many years ago. I worked in corporate life. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry myself. I started back in 1988 as a sales rep, and I worked my way up to sales manager, marketing manager, national sales manager, all these big roles within a couple of pharmaceutical companies. But when I was a manager, I made a decision that I was going to run my own business, kind of doing what we're doing now. And that was 8 years into my 10-year plan. The opportunity arose, so I took it. And OTD came out of that 14 years ago.
Wow. So what is the vision of the company today?
So really, the strap line that we have is inspiring people, which, as you know, is a nice kind of ambiguous statement, right? And I guess the whole point is we want to make sure that our team, the people that we serve, are inspired to change. So it doesn't matter whether we're running a presentation skills workshop, we need them to be convinced that they can be even better, much better. And they continue to make that change last and continue to get even better as they move forward. So it doesn't matter what we train the people in, we want them to really make a change.
So if you were to start again today, what would you do differently?
Good question. I wouldn't change the business itself. I wouldn't change our mission, but maybe some of the decisions we made earlier on, I probably would not have made them in terms of the people we chose at the beginning compared to the wonderful people we have now. So that's definitely one thing. And maybe another thing is we probably would have used more technology earlier. So that's another thing, you know. Now with the COVID scenario, we've got to do a lot of virtual training. Luckily, we were already doing this 3 or 4 years ago, and then we became super experts within a few months, you know. So that I would have used that a lot earlier on as well.
What do you like to do in your free time?
I like to watch football, but even now we're not able to do this because of the COVID situation. But I love to go live to the games. The adrenaline rush when the goal goes in, you know, for your team. I love this. But also, apart from that, I love spending time with my family. I have a wife. I have 5 children. One of them is not a child. One's a grown-up. She lives, you know, by herself and runs her own business. I have 4 small children who take up a lot of our time, and we love it.
Beautiful. So how do you recharge yourself?
Good question. I think the key thing for me is one of the ways I do that is keeping my mind focused and actually working on new things all the time. So that really helps me. You know, they always say a change is as good as a rest. So I love making sure that I'm constantly looking at new ideas and goals and actually going for them. You know, that's a really, really important thing for me. And I like to go on vacation. We have a holiday home in Barbados, which is where my family originally came from. And so it's quite nice to go and see my grandmother. She's 94. So, and a lot of my other aunts and uncles over there and cousins. So that's a great place to recharge. Nothing better than a nice tropical island by the sea to really relax. So wonderful.
So what do you like to read?
Whoa, I read so many. So I read so many books, right? I wish I could show you, right? I have a massive library. In fact, once my wife banned me from buying any more books. So I said, okay, we buy a new house with bigger. So I read a lot of books on business. I read a lot of books on the mind, how the mind works. At the moment, I'm reading a lot of books on Black history because all of this stuff that's been happening, I'm now being asked a lot of questions. You know, can you talk to us about this? And I've really made sure that I know my history really well, the Black history. And so at the moment, I'm reading a lot of those books as well, so that I can give people some very good, sincere answers that they're asking. So yeah, I'm a constant reader.
So is there a book that you would like to recommend or give away to others?
Oh, wow. The one that I really love, amongst a lot of the other ones I love, is Thinking on Purpose by Dr. Richard Bandler, Owen Fitzpatrick, and Glenda Bradstock. I think it's an absolutely brilliant book, because not only does it show you that if you change the way you think, you can change the way you feel, and you can begin to do much better things, but it also gives you exercises that you can do, and it uses technology to kind of, with little mini videos that you can watch if you use your QR code on there as well. So it's a very hands-on practical book. So great book for anyone to read.
So who is your role model?
Wow. I have a number of role models, but aside from my own family, of which I have several in my family, I would probably say people like Richard Bandler, John Laval, Kathleen Laval, and all of the team who, like yourself, who are assistants who work with Richard and John and Kathleen in the seminars. So really, they're kind of my role models.
What do you do, Chris, to learn more about growing your business?
Wow, that's a really good question. It's really interesting because today I had a 4-hour meeting with one of our big clients or big customers, right? And what we do is we have a series of questionnaires, or one questionnaire which has lots of different questions linked to the customer journey. So we ask specific customers within some of these big accounts that we have to complete this questionnaire, and then we amalgamate all of the data, and then we go back to the customer and show how we've changed based on their recommendations. So that's kind of how we grow our business, and it really does help, you know. And you know, the key thing is you get more business from the people that you're already doing business with, as long as you serve them really well, give them beyond what they're expecting.
What would you say are your core values that helped you succeed?
I think honesty, integrity, a kind of can-do-it attitude, strong beliefs in the people that you're working with as well, and your customers. And, you know, I really think that it's one of the other values is having a long-term vision, not a short-term vision. I think short-term is good for some things, like this challenge that we're having at the moment, but a much longer-term vision that can really, really, really help, you know, because that really helps to take the customers with you as well.
So how do you react in stressful or difficult situations?
That's really a good question. Well, I mean, the one thing that we were taught is to stop, breathe, and solve, right? And that kind of works pretty well, doesn't it? So,
true.
you know, but remember, the one thing that I do have, I have big pictures, long term. So, you know, in my mind, I don't plan for obstacles. I don't, you know, try and stop myself, halt my mind. But what I do is realize that they are there. And what I need to do is make sure that I feel strong enough and resourceful enough to know that I have the resources within me to help overcome any of these obstacles, and the people around me to help me do this as well. So hopefully that answers the question.
So how do you think about or maybe rituals that help you? Like, are there any rituals or habits or activities that you do regularly and they benefit you in business or maybe even private life?
Massively. So yeah, that's a good question. In fact, Alex, I've got to just show you this, right? What I do every day, I read a set of cards, right? So I normally have about 30 cards, okay? And these have goals that I'm looking to achieve, but I write them as if they've already happened.
Wow.
So in other words, I mean, let's have a look at this. What does it say here? This is an old one. These are cards from like 10 years ago, right? And I keep all of my cards. As soon as I achieve the thing, then I put down the card, put it away, and I write a new card. So this is a constant rolling thing.
So you just write it once, or you write it every day?
No. So what I do is I write them, right? I have maybe 30, and I read them every day, minimum once a day. Okay.
Wow.
I just take myself off, put myself in a nice, relaxing trance, and this is one of the first activities I do every single day. And I read the cards, you know, and you know, I'm there. I'm imagining that I've already achieved the thing, and it kind of starts to create these fake neural pathways in my brain. But what it does is, it then, when the opportunity suddenly arises, I'm ready. You know, I must act now. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
So I've been doing this for the best part of 25, 28 years. And it's kind of helped me. So even before the business, I was doing this. So one of my cards would have been to build a business. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, and sometimes I get the thing and then I think, actually, I don't really need this. But at least it's the journey of achieving the thing that's more important than the thing.
Wow.
So that's my ritual. That's my, and I go running every morning, or I do exercise. So I do two things: train my brain, train my body, have them connected, ready for the day.
Wow, beautiful.
So there you go.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. So is there any advice you hear today about running a business and you disagree with?
When you say disagree, what do you mean?
For example, you hear an advice, for example, you have to sell the company after 2 years, or this could be one advice, or you have to, I'm not sure. There are so many advice people give for running a business or for growing a business, and some of them are fine, or you agree with them. And are there any that you disagree, that you are against, and you believe they don't work?
Not really. Well, at the moment, right? This very topical debate, discussion. There's a lot of stuff with the Black Lives Matter thing. And then I've seen it on LinkedIn, people kind of putting these things like saying, about, they're almost like saying we're not racist, right? And at the same time, they're kind of saying things like, oh, maybe we should have a more diverse company, But, that I think is important anyway. But don't have a diverse company because you need a diverse company. Have a diverse company because you actually really want to have a diverse company. You care about different types of people, and you know that these people can help add to your business. Don't make this some kind of fashion statement. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And a lot of people are doing this at the moment. So my view is, if you're going to do something, put your money where your mouth is. So that is that okay? That's my perspective.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Beautiful. Is there a question that I should ask you, and it would be interesting for our listeners or viewers?
I guess one of the things would be what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in your life?
Okay, wonderful. Good question. What would you answer to this one?
Well, again, it has to do with the color of my skin. And some of it is kind of internal rather than external, right? So let me explain this. So I have a cousin who runs her own business. She's black. And she said to me when I was first starting out, oh, Chris, whatever you do, don't put your picture on your website or anything like this because people won't buy from black people, right? And so for a moment, I was like, oh, maybe they won't. But remember, I'd worked in the pharmaceutical industry for 20 years. People have been buying from me for all those years, right? Both the external customers and the internal people, right? Otherwise, I would not have got to such senior positions. So I ignored what she said. But that's a really important thing. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of times in my life, I have faced obstacles where people have kind of, it could have been seen as racism, right? Now, I had a choice. I could have kind of just fallen down and down and down and ended up not achieving my outcome. But the problem for me is I have big pictures of long-term outcomes, and the obstacles, whatever the obstacle is, I'm overcoming it. So I kind of ignore all of that stuff, and I kind of focus on what is my outcome, right? So of all the challenges I've faced in my life, I have kind of said, I don't really care about the challenge. My goal is this. This is there to teach me, and I'm going to learn, and then I'm going to move it out the way and move on. Does that make sense?
Wow, wonderful.
So I kind of, that's really helped me to, in fact, it does cause conflict at home sometimes with my wife, because sometimes she says, oh, I want to make you happy. And I'm like, you can't make me happy. I
True.
make myself happy. It's just like,
True.
oh, okay. But, but that's, I say this to the kids, somebody can't make you feel. You are allowing yourself to do this, and I think it's an important thing in life, So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this.
That's fine.
So what would be one piece of advice you would give to students graduating today?
My word. Make sure you have absolutely crystal clear, strong feeling, big sounding outcomes, right? They're never big enough, because, you as soon as you set yourself a goal, there's going to be some voice inside your head going, can you do it? Blah, 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 blah. But for me, that is the position, that is the permission to keep going. Because that's just normal, And even if you don't say it to yourself, other people will say it. So be careful who you're telling what your outcome or goal is anyway. I think that's an important thing. And surround yourself with great people who can help you get there. There's how many billion people on this planet? 9. So there's bound to be someone who can help you if you put it out there.
Beautiful. So what would be one piece of advice you would give to business owners who listen to us today?
Having said what I said about diversity, I would still say, don't see the big mistake that a lot of people make is they kind of employ their friends in their business, their family in their business. This causes big problems.
Yes.
Go and find people that can do the job, right? And it doesn't matter what they look like, what they sound like, just find people that can do the job. That is important because, and have a passion for doing the thing that you want, right? Because, and it doesn't matter whether they're black, white, Chinese, Indian, anything, find the right people, because that's what we've done in our business.
Chris Cummins, it was really nice to have you. Thank you so much for joining.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Če vam je bil ta posnetek všeč in želite vsak teden dobiti novo aktualno vsebino ter praktične nasvete za 10-kratno rast vašega podjetja, vas vabim, da se pridružite Mastermind klubu 10krat rast. Da obišete spletno stran mastermindakademija.com ali pa kar nam pišete na info@mastermindakademija.com in napišete, da bi radi postali člani tega odličnega združenja podjetnikov in podjetnic, kjer delamo na tem, da vi izboljšate vaše poslovanje, vašo rast. Če bi radi, da še koga povabim izmed uspešnih podjetnikov, vodij, če bi radi kakšno posebno vsebino, ki bi jo znotraj našega podcasta pokrili, vas res vabim, da nam pišete za ideje s predlogami in z veseljem se bomo potrudili, da bomo poiskali možnost, da vam tudi to ponudimo. Hvala lepa, da ste z nami. Vabim vas, da se naročite na naš podcast, da se naročite na naš YouTube kanal, da nas spremljate na različnih možnih kanalih, zato ker bi radi prav za vas vam dostavili najboljšo vrednost, največje ali pa najbolj koristne informacije, ki jih potrebujete pri vašem poslu in pri vašem delu.